Okay, so I'm going to be doing a VOD review for StratoCirrus, a plat something Junker Queen. I think this might be placements. I'm not entirely sure. Okay, just reading through this thing here, right? You said you struggle with the hog a bit. Yeah, so against hog, um, you really want to be playing really close to cover and just really paying attention to his hook because that's kind of like your the main thing you have to worry about in the matchup, right? Hog is pretty bad when he doesn't have his hook, but he's like really dangerous when he does have his hook. Right? Even when he has his hook, if you play kind of close to him, he's usually not that dangerous because like right, if you like get close to him and allow your team to run up close to him so like they can easily heal you, he can't like pull you away from your team or anything with his hook, and you just have to like survive the initial burst, which is pretty easy for tanks, right? As queen, it can be kind of sketchy, right? Because you're pretty low HP, and if he pulls you into the trap, he can slow you down, right? And obviously, like your shots on a pretty long cooldown, right? So like you want to be playing cover pretty well all the time, just to make it hard for him to hit you. But even then, like especially like in plat, they're also going to be messing up a lot too, and you'll just be able to get away with stuff, right? Now, obviously, that's not how you should be looking at it, right? But it just like you have more leniency right now than you will have when you climb against hog, right? So, yeah, I mean, also the character is like not good at all right now, so he probably will kind of disappear from your games soon, anyway. So, yeah. Anyways. I went through. Sorry, I went ahead and watched the first offense and defense from you, and I think primarily you're struggling with your positioning right now. You're not kind of like standing in the right places a lot of times, right? Um, and you're kind of like passive a lot of times on offense, right? Especially like it can be okay to push cart, but if you have the opportunity not to, especially on tank, you should probably be the one not playing on cart, right? Just because on as tank, like your range is really limited, right? Especially on queen, right? Like past like 15 meters, you're not going to be able to do anything to anyone that's not the tank, and it's better or sorry, generally it's better to like position yourself near choke points, especially like queen, to make it really difficult for the enemy team to like, for example, take high ground, just by preemptively being there, right? So I'll kind of demonstrate this as we watch a replay. Secondly, you have a really bad habit of kind of drifting from cover for no reason, right? Sometimes you just like drift from cover to do like I don't know like 5 to 10% extra damage, but expose yourself to a lot of danger in doing so, and that's like a big problem, especially in the hog matchup, because like if you play sloppy around cover, you'll just get grabbed around in the open and just like die for it way more often, or have a lot of your cooldowns forced out for no reason, right? Whereas if you're just like literally stationary behind cover and shooting wherever you could shoot, sure, you might be doing 5 to 10% less damage, but you will take zero damage in return, right? And that's why like using cover is so important. You can like limit yourself to taking damage from certain angles where you can know like a certain character only does so much DPS. So you have like a certain amount of time to like do something before you get forced away, right? Obviously, you don't need to know like have a spreadsheet memorized of what characters do what amount of DPS, right? You can just like kind of gauge based on the like what's happening in game, like what what how you should like react to who you're getting shot by, right? And thirdly, your cooldowns could use some work, right? I've You're like afraid to use your shout sometimes when there's like opportunities to use it to get picks, right? And I think you actually have an interesting problem. A lot of people don't use their short cooldowns enough. I think you're almost using your knife like too much and not like spending the extra like half second or so to aim it, and you're just like reeling it back immediately when you're not going to get full value out of it, right? Um, Good tip for you in the hog matchup, if you're going to play queen into him, you can just throw your knife into hog like continuously, and when you like predict or when you see him using a hook, right, you can just reel it back in. It's like almost guaranteed to mess up his aim, right? If you're not going to get value from like instantly reeling the knife in, just don't reel it in immediately for no reason, right? It's obviously good to like reel it in if you're going to force them off force someone off high ground, pull someone in so you can like effectively one shot them or whatever. Or pull someone into your team, something like that. But if it's like a 1v1 situation, they're already kind of far away, don't just like immediately reel it in. Wait for them to like get close to cover and then pull them out like at the last second. just so that you're like maximizing their time in the open, you know, just for example, right? Anyways, I'll get on to the play-by-play here. So here, I don't like playing down here, right? Um, High ranks, you'll never see people do this. You know, maybe like some Ryan OTPs. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I really don't know what they do on defense on this map. But like, it's just not good, right? You're very easy to surround, right? Like you can see when you play here, you can get flanked, for example, from like this direction here, or like this doorway here, or you know, someone can just literally they can literally just stand and spawn, so they're basically invincible, and just shoot you away or like force you to get no value. And like easily just go high ground and ignore you two, right? And like just sit up here and just like shoot your backline for free. Um, I like playing up here and then eventually falling back to this corner here because it's just much harder to like contest this area for the attackers than it is to like contest this first area, right? I don't think it's horrible to do this in plat. I'm just kind of like trying to walk you through why I don't think it's like particularly good. You just don't have good opportunities and do anything here except shoot the tank, right? Which is okay, but like you're not able to contribute anything else. And this hog, if he really wanted to, he could just go up here too, right, and just hook your back line and get a pick, and there's nothing you can do about it too, right? So like it kind of goes like both ways, right? He can just give up card for like half a second and just try to get for a pick and just like push you away anyways. Here, ignore the fire, right? Like you literally can't do anything to her if she's that far away, right? When you do stuff like this, you're making it really easy for the hog to line up his hook, right? I'll show you from his POV. Right, like you're literally not paying attention to them all, and like you see how easy you made yourself to hook there just because you're looking at the Pharah. Part of it's because you're looking at the Pharah, and part of it's also because you're drifting from cover, right? And that's kind of like the more fundamental thing that I noticed this game, that you're just drifting from cover a lot of times for no reason, right? You see you're just kind of jumping in the open, like see this? Like this is a really low chance of happening play, right? Even if you knock her down, like she's still in principle in LOS of your entire team if they're playing here, right? Like they just peek right here, and like you like hitting the knife isn't gonna help them at all. It's obviously gonna help you, maybe, but it's a really low percentage chance of you hitting it. But by jumping around in the open, you see you make yourself very easy for this hog. Fortunately, like damage dump, right? When you're down on cooldowns, you got to get out, right? When you have, or sorry, when you use your shout, that's kind of like your like safe, like you know, your safe line cooldown, and you see because you're sitting in the open again, and you didn't back up because you used your cooldowns already. The hog hooks you in again, and now your Kiriko's forced to burn Suzu just to keep you alive, right? And just for your reference, if the enemy team was better, you could have just immediately died before you like your Kiriko could have even Suzu you there, right? Like you got it incredibly well. If I'm not saying anything, it's because like nice. It's not like the end of the world. I will say here against Hog, you want to be close, but not like point blank, right? Like this is like a good range for you to be near when you're playing against Hog, because he's like his spread is massive, right? And like if he hooks you in, he's just gonna hook you like right here, and it doesn't like accomplish anything for him. But when you play point blank, he's just gonna like damage jump you because like his gun does a lot more um, maximum damage than yours does. The problem is its range is way worse than yours, right? Yeah, so just something to keep in mind. Okay, good. Regardless, right? Could have spent, like, that's kind of what I'm talking about the knife. You could have spent, like, a half second longer trying to line up the Kiri, right? I do like that you're using it pretty much all the time, right? That's kind of what you want to be doing with the knife. It's alright, whatever. Happens sometimes when you're trying to go for the Kiri. Again, right, you see, like, this seems like a really small detail, but you see you're drifting. Let me show you from the Hog's POV what this looks like. I think you'll note, in principle, this is a really easy hook. You're just walking from his POV to the right, and you even, like, make yourself even easier to hit by jumping for no reason, right? You see you're nowhere near cover right now, right? You could literally, just pretty much being AFK behind the cart, like this, just crouching down, make yourself like as hard to hit as possible from the hog, and force him to like peek all the way out here to try to hook you, right? Which puts him in like LOS of your entire team, right? Obviously, like literally just standing still AFK isn't the best thing to do, and ideally you would have stopped the cart, so its front edge would be like in this position right here, so you can like play this close angle right here, right? But like that is what I said. Literally, just being AFK is almost better than what you're doing, just because you're like functionally impossible to kill. I don't like this shout. Like you shout when the hog goes for a hook, but like you can't do anything off this shout, right? Like everyone's kind of out of your range because you don't have your knife, so you can't like full commit on anyone. And I will say, like this Kiriko has been like running into you this for this extended time, right? And you wouldn't need your shout to commit on her in the first place, right? She has both her cooldowns, right? Um, and you can just get on her without even shouting. So. Here, when the hog ults, literally just like stand still on this side and try to use like audio cues if you can to try to see which side it's going to peek from, right? If he peeks from this side, right, and shoots you, you can easily just like surf the damage like back in this corner where you're not going to get killed, right? And if he hooks you, you can just like shout and like fly away afterwards, right? Um, and if he like pushes like this side, for example, right, you just keep rotating over here. So like it's the same thing but in reverse, right? But when you let him like peek the same angle you're on, he can easily get the option to throw you off the map, right? Just something to consider, right? And you also make it easier for him again, just like for peeking him for no reason, right? This supposed to be him. I'm just gonna show you from his POV. I feel like this might help, just like show you why you should be peeking inopportune times for no reason, right? Right, you see, you just kind of walk into his crosshair, and that gives him a really easy opportunity to knock you off the map here, right? You could have potentially ulted to save yourself. At that range, I'm pretty sure you can get back on the map by ulting. And I think using ult so you just don't die is still pretty valuable, right? And chances are you can land on someone and still kill them anyway, so.
I'm ready to rampage.
Regardless, your team gets good picks here, right? I would have considered ulting this, but once you see the hogs really weak, I would definitely, yeah. It's a good call not using ult. This is okay, right? Just walking forward. You know the Pharah's ahead, right? I'd be careful with the Kiriko, but... Nice. Okay, this is another position where, like, this is kind of what I was talking about at the very beginning with, like, the cover usage thing, where you're, like, doing more, like, maybe marginally more damage, but you're making yourself way more vulnerable to getting shot, right? And it's kind of like this sloppy movement that's totally unnecessary, right? Let me show you from the hog's perspective what you look like, right? I don't even think he's gonna look at you, right? I'm sure you could see if this guy, just notice you were like walking over here over and over again. See, you're like really exposed right now. If this guy literally just walked over here and hooked you down, you just immediately die, right? There's nothing you can do about it, right? And you have to be really careful if Hog can like hook you off high ground into your team. That's like not a position where you want to be wide peeking because that's like a really good way to die as tank, right? But you see, like when you do this stuff, you could literally just be AFK and literally just stand here. You're going to be doing pretty much the same amount of damage, but you'll be at no risk in return, which is the important part, right? Kind of a risk reward thing. You see, like you're not really doing anything anyways. I mean, obviously you're forcing you to reposition, but like you're not going to get this kill anyways, like 99% of the time. Because she can get tanked by her Kiriko, right? And if you like commit for her, you're going to be like in the middle of their entire team. You know, right away, obviously, which is obviously very risky. And like, there's just a completely easy way to just completely avoid that, just by like not watching.
Time for a thunderstorm.
This is fine, right? You see, like the hog uses hook, and you know they don't have Suzu. I will say, right? Because the entire team is around this corner here, right? Except the hog. When you go for this ult, you can just use your ult to split the hog. And I say this because like your team is going to be playing, like see their positioning now. They're all looking at this choke point right here. So like when the enemy team backs up beyond this corner, your team no longer has LOS on these people. So you're pretty much taking like, obviously like the Freya's purpled, right? So it's not like completely fair, right? And you're like full HP and you have your cooldowns, right? Um, So it's okay to try to shoot them, but in my opinion, it would have been better just to immediately like split the hog from his team, right? Start shooting the hog because your entire team can help you deal with him, right? And like once your team is already set up at this angle here, if the enemy team wants to repeak, you see now your Freya is in position to help you, um, to like to let you take the unfair fight against the hog now, right? I will say the shout wasn't necessary, right? You weren't like you didn't take any damage there, so. Here, just go in, right? It's pretty good, right? That's like what you want to be doing against hog, right? When he goes for a hook, just pull him. And he didn't hit anyone there, obviously, but even if he hits someone there, your pull target will live if you just mess up his aim, right? It's like impossible to react to that as the hog player. This is okay to be doing this here because our hog's not back yet. Hog's back now, so be careful. Still, right, a little bit of movement stop here. You can literally just stand still. Like, it might make them easier to hit, or it might make you easier to hit, but it also makes you, or it gives you an easier time hitting them. And again, like when you're only taking damage from the Freya, you don't have to worry about getting killed because like the only way you're gonna get killed by the Freya here is if you lag out, right? Like the hog is the hog and the rest of the team is the issue, not the Freya alone, right? I think I wasn't paying attention. I think you had knife a little sooner there, right? Obviously you could have denied that res if you knife a little sooner. Unfortunate, right? Again, you're extending beyond this cover a bit too much. You see the hog's looking for it. He probably could have hooked you down. Like I said, I do like that you're using your knife off cooldown, but I think I want you to just spend the extra half a second to try to line it up. Again, right? You don't want to be like point blank against hog. Once you see this hog is healing, right, you don't want to be put in this room with them, especially now they have a Reaper, because if he just turns around and starts getting healing, you just won't be able to like kill him before he kills you, right? Because you literally can't move when hog ults you, right? I get it though, he gets really low. I kind of get it. Nice kill. He's shooting Kiriko here. Obviously, like you should have been scouting for the Suzu. I knew they had it here because you didn't see them use it, so like you kind of wasted your ult. I would say the Kiriko was available for you to shoot. Nice kill regardless. It's a bit of a goofy axe, so I'll say it. That's alright. I think the primary problem with that fight is that you just kind of wasted your ult, right? You just had to pay attention to their Suzu usage, right? Obviously, there's some things you could have done a bit better, but that's like the primary issue. Walking back, right? If you know the Reaper's above, I don't know how well you know this map, but you can just walk up the staircase here and fight them, right? As tank, you can pretty much like win or like force out every single 1v1 in the game, right? Especially as Queen, maybe like as Winston, you can't get rid of this Reaper realistically in a 1v1. But like as Queen, like the worst thing that can happen to you is he forces your shout and you trade your shout for his Wraith, right? Realistically, chances are you can just shoot him away and just like use your knife or your axe to force him away and just get healed by your team afterwards, right? You don't want your team to take the 1v1 if you have the opportunity not to, right? Because they have to push the card up anyways, so like you're not like pressured to stop the card because it's so far away, right? And this Reaper is really overextended, right? You can see like his team is like all over the place. And your team can easily encircle him, right? But like I said, right, as tank, you're not going to lose the 1v1, as in you're not going to die. But there's a chance this Reaper like hides around a corner and just like 2 shots one of your DPS or something, right? You want to be the one that like forces him away so he doesn't have that opportunity. Nice, good. Kill him for overextending. It's alright. A few micro decisions you could have made or done better there, but I'm not going to worry about too much. It's fine. Be careful doing this when you don't have your shout, right? I like that you're not just shooting the hog for no reason here. But again, he forces out your shout, so you're kind of forced to play slowly, right? So you're up the Kiri, right? And you just saw, I don't know if you noticed, probably not. This Reaper just wraith to the left. Let me find that for you. Get a little too far back, but You see, he's just right there for no reason. This is an opportunity for you to just shout in and like engage on Reaper, because he has no cooldowns, or engage on the cast because he's easier to kill. You know, he doesn't have lifesteal and he doesn't have like teleport. Right, and the hog also has no hook, right? So like he can't just like hard punish you right now. If you just like go in and use the fact that you have cooldown advantage here and a player advantage, you're just gonna win the fight like every single time, right? I know you're pinging above, probably because like you expected the Reaper to go above. Let me pause. I'll say you're probably pinging above because you expect the Reaper to go above, but he can't go above right now because he doesn't have his Wraith, right? That's kind of why it's important. I probably missed that real time, but like I caught on to that immediately. And like if you just went in sooner, you won't give this guy the opportunity to do stuff like this, right? So like you give him the position to use his ult kind of for free there, right? He just wastes his Fade or Wraith, whatever it's called, and you just like don't punish him. Yeah, this fight's over here. I probably would have died card if I could kill him here regardless. Skipping forward a bit here, right? On defense here, I like to take high ground, especially like when you're not playing like Sigma or whatever. Because you'll just get spammed out really easily. Even on Sig, right? You probably want to start high ground and like spam them out first, waste their cooldowns first, and then like drop the contest cart like around here, for example. Just so you can like stall cart, right, and force them to go high ground afterwards, right? Because just like sitting in this really long sight line, like obviously in retrospect, it's probably really like obvious to see that you literally as tank cannot do anything if they just sit like across the map, right? You'll just get poked out anyways. So you might as well like sit high ground and force them to clear you off first, right? You see, like when you're not playing high ground, you're letting the DPS like flank behind you for free. There's like not much you can do, except hope they mess up, right?
Time for a thunderstorm.
It's fine, right? I would have probably tried to greed the fight because you already got the pick on the Reaper, and not used ult, but I don't think it's endable, right? It wins you the fight really fast. Winning fights fast is really valuable. So. Careful, the hog is back soon. Unfortunate. I think if you hit a few more shots, you probably could have staggered them. It's all right.
Thank you.
You can't hit everything, so. Okay, good isolation, right? Just farm them, right? You don't have to get the kill in the tank, but if you just keep doing that, you'll just waste all of his resources, right? And get a lot of ult charge. Here, when the hog pops ult, I would just be looking to run away, right? He gave you the opportunity to run. I would just let them use Kiri Rush and hog ult for your Kiri Rush, right? Like, they use 3 ults, because their whatever, their Mercy also uses ult. Just let them use 3 ults for your 1 ult, right? It's okay to lose fights when you just lose like a million ults. Okay, I think that was a pre-hook by their hog. Should have been a bit more careful with that corner there. Not much more to say, right? Alright, I actually didn't know you was here. I didn't watch this exact part. Yeah, there's like nothing in this position, so. Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, I don't know why your teammates aren't shooting the wall. That's okay. Alright, I'd be looking to kill this main, right? Like, this is crazy. What is this main doing? Getting a little bit of cover like sloppiness here. If instead of walking in the open, right, and like doing this, you just literally like took the positioning up here, right? You see like, I'm not gonna rewind, but you see like your angle in the Mei would be exactly the same, right? I mean, maybe again you do like 10% less damage, but you see you're taking literally 0 damage by walking this way, right? And that's kind of what you want to be like thinking about when you take positions on maps, right? How do I put myself in a position where I can do something, but the enemy team can't like do anything to me? Or like, you know, as you rank up, the thing will be, how do I put myself in a position where I do more than the enemy team can do back to me, right? Again, right, not the biggest end of the world, right? He's pulling you an LOS of your team. team's already down to DPS, so yeah, could have been a bit more patient with that hook. This is a position where you could probably just run past the hog and ignore them, right? Because they're down 2, right? They just lost their Freya and their Mei was like respawning at the time. So you can see a bit of cover usage problems here, right? I'll show you this time the hog's POV, just to show you how important like using cover is, right? And obviously, like part of this is that you should have been more aggressive to begin with when you were up all these players, right? Like if you have the opportunity to get off the cart, just go for it, right? See, you're just in the open against the Mei, but if you literally, for example, just stood back here, you would have made yourself impossible to hook, or just immediately ran in on the Mei because she's isolated and like went for the pick, right? Yeah, either or. Like when you just stand like in this like middle zone, right, where you're not like full committing to one option of either like playing safe behind cover, like full committing for the kill. You just like set yourself up for opportunities like that, right? This is fine. Right? Keep shooting the Mei here, right? She didn't have ice block quite then. I'd be looking to kill this Mei, right? A bit of a risky play, I'm sure you can see in retrospect, right? It's alright. I'm not going to dwell on that too much. Here, this is a position where you can just run in on the... Okay, good. I was going to say the Kiri, just because she's easier to like do something about. I do like how you swapped off the hog, though. It's fine, right? He's really weak. This fight was fine overall, right? I'm not saying too much about it. I'm gonna skip forward. I think this Mei just kind of feeds, uses her own die, so we don't really need to see that. Alright, if you already have 3 in cart, right, I'd be looking to kind of take positioning where your Yari is. Just immediately start pressuring them off the angle, so your team can take more angles themselves, right? Like your team doesn't want to like 5-stack cart. Your team wants to like take angles, for example, like up here, so they have like sight lines to shoot their back line, right? Or you know, I don't think what your Ash did was the best, but it's something better than just like 5-stacking cart. And if you're like up here to begin with earlier, you're gonna be shooting this hog away a lot more quickly, just so your Ash doesn't have to like worry about that, right? Because you can just shoot them off the angle, right? And now because you weren't like taking forward enough positioning, right? Or, like at least fighting for it, your team just gets picked as a result. This is fine, right? Could be taking a bit more time to aim those, but I think it's pretty good value to try to like hook or like knife these people off high ground, right? It's fine, right? Probably already know what I'm going to say there, right? Just take a bit more time, right? This is a good timing to use your shout and try to commit on this guy, right? See, you hide your shout a bit sooner. That's okay, right? Okay, pretty good ult, right? I think their Kiri used to do. I was preoccupied with like that other engagement, so. Or I should say with using your shout earlier to commit on the cast, right? Because he was clearly overextended, right? If you use your shout and get a pick, it's all, like pretty much always worth it, right? Obviously, you have to be careful and end it not in the open, but it's just something to consider. Okay, I think your soldier fed here, and their hog ulted. Didn't really miss much of anything there. Right? This soldier is absolutely insane. This is a good positioning to just use your shout and just run him down, right? Especially you know soldier has mobility and sprint. So just use your shout, don't even like use your axe. Just shout and just like gun him down, right? So see, because you're not shouting, he just runs away. But like if you shout here and just get the pick like immediately, sure you won't have shout, for example, to save your team, but you'll trade your shout for your for a pick on the soldier so your team can take like a lot more angles more freely, right? And since you kill him really quickly, right, you just pop shout, kill him immediately. You just come back to the front line like immediately, right? And your team's not without a tank, right? Because like 2 of the problems here are that you're just letting him run away, and your team is also without a tank in this fight, right? Which is like not good, right? Okay, good. Probably save that guy with a shout. That soldier's crazy, right? Shooting the hog's okay here. Shooting the cast or the Kiri, right? Just the Mercy is just too far away, right? When those people are that far away, if you don't hit a knife on them, they can be really hard to like consistently do damage to. So, I think it skipped a little too far forward. Actually, you know what? Probably a little more effective. It's alright. Whatever, you have to wait for your spawner. In these downtime positions, you could be looking to rotate high ground. Just so, like I said earlier, as tank, you're going to win like every 1v1 in the game, or at least force people off angles if you take 1v1s, right? So if you take this downtime to like rotate upper, and it forces casts away, now your team can like take high ground for free, right? Okay, this soldier's absolutely insane. What in the world is that? Okay, good save. Pretty good stuff, right? Like, yeah, you don't hit anyone with the axe, but you force out Suzu in TP, which gives you the opportunity to like kill someone. Maybe the Kiriko included, right? Unfortunately, right? I think that would have hit if she didn't teleport, right? Good attempt. Let's say, I would look into getting a little bit better with the timing, with like the distance management, with the axe, right? You've been missing a few of them, so it's another something small to look for you too. That all is fine, right? Isolate the hog. They don't have Suzu, so I think you just win right here, or I should say win this round from here. So skipping forward. Okay, so you set up here the second defense. Strange to me. I guess you kind of learned on the fly that playing low ground isn't ideal. You're not really saying nothing you can really do about that, right? Again, not really playing cover. You don't really need a peek right now. I know you're trying to like maybe look for a pick to like bounce out your Kiri, but you see when you do it here, your team can't help you, right? And you're like playing main against 5 people, and like there's like no surprise, right? So you're not gonna be able to catch anyone by surprise when you do this. Is what I mean. What you should be doing when you're like down one is either like playing really safe so no one else can die, or like for example you can rotate over here, right? You know, throw a knife into the Sojourn, Kiri, or Zen and like shoot them, right? Force everyone's attention on you when you're pretty safe, right? You're not going to die here. You know, as long as you play cover well, you can't get hooked. And that gives your opportunity, or sorry, that gives your backline the opportunity to like use the distraction you're making to potentially pick someone off, right? You're probably not going to solo kill anyone right there, but again, right, you don't want to get pulled in the open like that. If that team was better, you probably would have died there. Again, right, no shout, you cannot be doing this stuff. Right? You had a lot of opportunities just to run away and play a lot more safe. I will say, right, you don't have to back up main. If you see the Hogs card, like, you can't do anything without your Kiri anyways, so literally just rotate through here, right? You have the time to do it, right? And again, maybe you'll catch someone like this Widow, for example. Catch someone like this Widow, for example, that overextends, and like, prevent her from killing your Kiri again, right? That's a good thing about rotating off main when you're already down one anyways. Probably not going to be able to win this, right? I don't know if we can test. You can't do anything here. You're already down 2. Nice kill. Okay. One thing you can do is set up high ground, right? It's a bit riskier. You can set up here, right? And like you won't be playing cart per se, but you'll be able to set up like a ton of angles on them that makes it very difficult for them to walk forward, right? Like your team can set up here, they can set up in that window here, and you can like set up, I don't know, with your Kiri up here, and just like completely surround them, which makes it like impossible for them to push cart unless they like walk high ground or like flank you guys or something, you know, something along those lines, right? Just something to keep in mind, right? And if you get a pick, you can just immediately drop on cart or whatever, and look to do something from that position. Right? Okay, this Torb is absolutely insane. Nice kill. Careful here, you're down your Kiri, right? Yeah. You're just playing too far forward there, right? When you're down your Kiri, right, you just don't have good healing, right? You just have to wait for them to walk forward a bit further. Kind of a game sensing, I get it. You got the Torb and you're trying to go in, but you're still down one. That's like the primary issue there. Yeah, don't worry about that one too much. I can nitpick that, but whatever. They use a ton of ults. Yeah, whatever. Again, here I'd be going high ground, right? Oh, actually, you know what? You might not know the jump. I just completely escaped my mind. If you jump onto the treads here, right? Come up to about right here and crouch jump onto like this position right here. You can just walk up to here and like easily jump up here afterwards, right? I completely like escaped my mind, right? I'm just so used to it. Just something to keep in mind in the future, right? There's also another jump you can do off of here. I think you like jump off this thing and then like, jump up here and then like jump onto here or something like that. Yeah, I never use that one. It's a lot more finicky than the other one, so. Not really necessary. Okay, what is this? Carry rush. Not really. I should say like not really necessary to use your shout there. He was already getting healed by your Fury, so. Nice ult. This is fine, right? I can be okay. Obviously, like this game is a really good showcase, so you can purple the front line sometimes and just like kill someone that you like get. You don't always have to shoot. Good cleanup. Your team used like 3 ults, but your ult's like the only ult that did anything. So, actually, maybe they used 4. So maybe wear that as a badge of honor. Skipping forward a little here, right? Okay, so last offense. I think you guys may have had more time. This is fine. I mean, at this point, like you can't really do anything yet except push cards. So like I don't really have any problems with it. Unfortunate, right? I thought that was gonna pull him on the ground. That would have been really good. So. Could aim that one a bit longer, right? Oh, no need to rush these things. If the hog just wants to sit up there, right? One thing you can do, right? You're up the bastion. Just literally walk over here, right? You see, like when you do this, you see you only get shot by the hog. Just knife him down, or alternatively, you could like get on his backline, right? Like you have a lot of options because your team got the pick on their bastion. You can just use the fact that they can't hold every angle now to walk forward and like pick whatever you want to do, right? You have a lot of options here, and you can't get punished if you play cover well, right? And like your team can easily take a positioning as long as you don't like hard flank to heal you no matter where you go, right? No reason to be playing so passive. Again, that's position to shout and just go for the kill on him, right? It's okay to leave your team if like you're up. It's not like literally leaving your team. It's okay to like not play main if you're up players. In general, of course. Nothing you could have done about that. Actually, let me retract this statement. The only thing you could have done about that is by being aggressive more early, just so the hog wouldn't even have the opportunity to go for that play, right? But like in that timing, there's nothing you could have done. So here you're down 2, just get out, right? Down 2 DPS. Literally nothing you can do, right? You're just giving them opportunities to stagger you guys, right? This is kind of more your fault, right? Like the Kiri dies, sure, but you see she's trying to like follow you in this room to heal you. But like no one's gonna die without your both your DPS, right? So you're just gonna get surrounded and probably die for it. Or at least use all your cooldowns to stay alive. Careful here, right? When you're discorded, try not to push. Just wait out the discord. Right? It's fine. I mean, if you get pushed away, there's not much you can do about it. Yeah, good stuff. Nice try. I'll be thinking about popping ult here.
For a thunderstorm.
Okay, that's really unfortunate. I think that's what you meant in your post, right? That's unfortunate, right? Obviously, that's very avoidable if you just jumped on the point first or just used your ult sooner. Yeah. Obviously, like we could like nitpick the last fight, but I'm sure you can see there are a lot of opportunities you had this game to like be in a better position from the get-go, right? Yeah. And by positioning, I mean both like literal positioning and like, game state positioning too, right? So, um, in total, I'll say again, right? I think your positioning needs some work. I don't think you're necessarily like taking these positions that are aggressive enough early enough, especially on offense, right? Like if you have the opportunity to get off cart and do something else, do it, right? Like you'll see like high rank, a lot of tanks will play. Maybe this is where the confusion's coming from. High rank, a lot of tanks will play on the objective, especially like immobile ones, just because like their team is automatically going to be taking angles and like no one else can play cart in a lot of positions or a lot of timings because cart eats spam from like every angle, right? And tank's the only one that's like not gonna immediately die if they sit objective, right? And still, even in high ranks, like your tank's off the objective all the time, right? They're only on objective when they have to be. Um, Secondly, right, your cover usage needs like a fair amount of work, right? I'm sure you can see this game. There are a lot of like timings where you're just kind of drifting beyond cover when it was completely unnecessary. Right? And that you kind of got away with it sometimes, right? But other times you just died for it, right? Or got all your cooldowns forced out. That's not what you want to have happen, right? You want to be like taking cover on the map again, where like you can still do pretty much all you can like physically do as a character, but like deny the enemy team's ability to do something to like contest you, right? And thirdly, right, pay more attention to your cooldowns, right? Your knife, you could be a bit more patient with it, right? And you don't have to reel it in immediately every time. And your shout, right? You had a lot of opportunities, especially on offense, to use your shout, get a pick, and immediately like come back to your team to like start pressuring the front line. Or just use it to extend a bit more than you would otherwise to get kill someone that's overextended. And remember, like when you don't have your shout, you have to be playing really passively because that's kind of like your premier tanking ability, right? Like if you get hooked, for example, without shout, you're just gonna immediately die because you don't have that way to speed yourself up and get like the 200 green overhealth or whatever it is, right? Whatever it's called. I hope this helps.